The stars outside the window of Helion Prime shimmered like a silent warning. In the center of the massive orbiting station, Earth's leaders gathered in the Unity Hall, a long silver chamber with high ceilings and cold light. Holograms of each delegate flickered into place, representing Earth's remaining colonies, science unions, and military divisions. At the front of the hall stood Commander Merrick Solis, tall, broad-shouldered, and quiet. His uniform was sharp, his face unreadable. He had been called here for one reason. A message had arrived. Not just any message, a direct broadcast from the Galactic Council. Without ceremony, the air in front of them shimmered, and the tall, glowing form of High Chancellor Xiron appeared. His smooth gray skin, thin features, and long ceremonial robe marked him clearly as one of the Zyrex, a species known for their logic and cold diplomacy. Xiron's voice was calm but chilling. People of Earth, you have ignored warnings. Your colonization of Sector X continues. This space is protected. Your actions risk destabilizing galactic harmony. He paused. His pale eyes seemed to look straight at Merrick. This is your final warning. Halt all expansion beyond designated boundaries. If you do not comply, Earth will be removed from the Unity Sphere. Permanently. A hologram vanished. Silence filled the hall. Then voices erupted. Fear, anger, confusion. One delegate shouted, "We can't afford war." Another whispered, "We should pull back, just for now." Merrick stepped forward, his voice low but steady. "We've done nothing wrong," he said. "We've built our future. And now they want to stop us because we've grown too strong." Someone replied, "You want to fight the entire galaxy." Merrick looked around the room. "No, I want to stand. If we give in now, we'll never stand again." No one spoke. The silence said enough. Some were with him, others were not. Later that night, Merrick stood alone in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. His second-in-command, Captain Lyra Nez, joined him. "Do you think they'll really attack?" she asked quietly. Merrick didn't look away. "They don't bluff. They plan." Lyra frowned. "Then what do we do?" He turned to her, his voice firmer now. "We prepare, quietly. No panic, no speeches, just readiness." He tapped the screen on his wrist, pulling up a fleet status report. "They think we're cornered," he said. "Let's prove them wrong." Outside, the stars kept shining. Silent, watching. The shuttle sliced through the dark sky, leaving a trail of blue behind it. Commander Merrick Solis sat alone in the passenger bay, staring at the metal floor. The hum of the engines was steady, but his thoughts were loud. HFY, the colony where he was born. Once a thriving outpost full of life and progress. Now it was nothing but ash and wind. The council had called it an incident. They claimed the colony had developed unauthorized weapons. Without warning, they sent enforcement drones and orbital strikes. Thousands died. Merrick's parents were among them. The shuttle landed in silence. The doors opened with a hiss. Merrick stepped out onto dry, cracked ground. The sky was pale gray. The wind carried dust across broken roads and collapsed buildings. Time had stripped this place of color, but not of memory. He walked past the remains of what was once Sector House 3, where he'd gone to school. The walls were torn down, the roof gone. He paused and looked around. This place had raised him, and it had been taken by the very council now threatening Earth again. He kept walking until he reached a small rise near the old power station. On top was a stone marker, simple, with names carved deep into it. His mother's, his father's, friends, neighbors. He knelt. For a while, he said nothing. He just stared at the names. Then, quietly, "They called you dangerous. You were just alive." He stood slowly. Behind him, a small drone hovered into view. Captain Lyra Nez's voice came through its speaker. "Commander, we've got a problem." He turned toward it. "Go on." One of our scout ships found council vessels in Sector AX. Large ones, not patrols, warships. Looks like they're building up. Merrick's face hardened. They're making the first move. We also detected a signal, encrypted. It was sent from inside our own command net. Someone's leaking to them. He clenched his jaw. Tell Admiral Rin to run a full internal sweep. Quietly. No alerts. Yes, sir. The drone flew off. Merrick looked one last time at the marker. They're coming again, he said. But this time, we'll be ready. He turned and walked back to the shuttle. The ruins of HFY faded behind him as the engines roared to life. Above, the stars watched once more, cold and distant. The Council's message had shaken Earth's leadership, but the sight of Council warships entering Sector AX sent fear rippling through every command post and colony channel. At Helion Prime, the Earth Assembly gathered again, this time with tension thick in the air. Some members looked tired, others angry. A few looked ready to run. Commander Merrick Solis stood at the front, arms crossed, as arguments echoed across the chamber. They have hundreds of ships, one delegate shouted. If we resist, we'll be crushed. We should negotiate, another said. Delay, avoid war. Merrick raised his voice, not loud, but strong enough to cut through the noise. We've negotiated before. We followed their rules. And still, they punished us. HFY. Remember. The room quieted. We didn't start this. But we can end it on our terms, he continued. Not through surrender. Through strength. A murmur of agreement rose, but not everyone was with him. Fear still had roots in the room. Later, in the control tower, Merrick met with Captain Liranez and a small team. They huddled around a holomap showing red dots, council ships, moving closer to Earth's edge. They're surrounding us, Lyra said, like a slow choke. Merrick nodded. We need allies. We're not ready to face them alone. He tapped a sector on the map. Khan Liss, exiled from the Council 3 years ago. He controls a rogue fleet near Orion Drift. Last I heard, he doesn't like Siren any more than I do. Lyra raised an eyebrow. You think he'll help? I think he still wants revenge. Hours later, Merrick boarded a long-range stealth ship. Only a few crew members went with him. The trip to Orion Drift was dangerous, far from Earth's protected space, and full of pirate activity. After 2 days of silent travel, they reached the edge of Liss's territory. As expected, armed ships intercepted them fast. Unknown vessel, you are trespassing, came a sharp voice over comms. This is Commander Merrick Solis of Earth Defense. I need to speak with Admiral Khan Liss. It's about the Council. Silence. Then, dock and wait. Inside the old battle station, Merrick found Liz just as he remembered. Tall, scared, and carrying the air of someone who'd seen too much war. He had once served the Council. He now lived to fight it. What do you want, Solis? Liz asked. Help, Merrick replied. They're coming for Earth. And why should I care? Merrick stepped closer. Because if they crush Earth, they'll come for the rest of us. And because I know you've been waiting for this fight. Liz stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, he smiled. I'll think about it. As Merrick returned to his ship, the first message from Earth arrived. Urgent. Assassination attempt. Target. Commander Solis. Status. Failed. Merrick froze. The traitor was close. The war had already begun, inside. The halls of Helion Prime were quiet, but tense. News of the assassination attempt had spread. Whispers filled the corridors. No one knew who to trust. Eyes watched from every corner. Even silence now felt dangerous. Commander Merrick Solis stood in a secure briefing room with Captain Liranez and his closest officers. The lights were dim. A holo display showed council ships, more now spreading across Sector IX like a slow storm. They're moving faster, Lyra said. The blockade is nearly complete. They're preparing for war, Merrick replied. We can't wait any longer. One of the officers, General Holt, frowned. We're not ready to fight them, sir. Not openly. We won't fight on their terms, Merrick said. We choose the time, and we choose the line. He looked around the room, each face marked with worry, but also quiet resolve. It's time to declare independence. The room fell silent. Lyra spoke first. The assembly won't all support it. Some still want to surrender. They'll change their minds, Merrick said, or they'll be swept aside. The next day, the Earth Assembly gathered one last time in the Unity Hall. The chamber was full. Tension hung in the air. Merrick stepped forward. He spoke clearly, slowly. The Council has surrounded our space. They issue threats. They used fear, but they forget something. They forget who we are. He paused. Every eye was on him. We built cities in the sky. We made life from dust. We survived betrayal, war, and silence. We are Earth, and we will not be ruled by fear. He held up a simple datapad. One button. With this, we send our answer. He pressed it. The message went out across the galaxy. Earth declares full independence from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. We stand as a sovereign power. We will not yield. The chamber exploded into noise, cheers, gasps, shouts. The future had just changed. Back in the command center, alarms blared. Lyra ran in with a report. They're on the move. Council ships changing formation. They're coming straight for us. Merrick stepped to the command screen. Activate defense satellites. Prepare orbital cannons. Ready stealth drones. Alert all colonies. Do we notify Admiral Conless? Lyra asked. Merrick nodded. Yes. Tell him the fight has begun. Across space, ships powered up. Engines roared. Crews ran to battle stations. Merrick stood at the center of it all. Calm. Focused. He looked out the window at the stars, and the growing storm headed toward Earth. They think we're alone, he said softly. Let's prove them wrong. The stars above Earth were no longer peaceful. They were filled with movement, sharp streaks of light, clusters of ships, and the faint glow of shields warming up. The Galactic Council's fleet had arrived. From the command tower of Helion Prime, Commander Merrick Solis watched in silence. The main screen displayed hundreds of enemy ships. Their formation was tight and slow, like a net being pulled closed. Final count, Merrick asked. Captain Lyra Nays stood beside him, scanning data. 127 warships. Flagship confirmed. Xiron is here. Merrick nodded. Good. All defense satellites are active. Ground shields at full power. Drone swarms prepped. Then let's begin. The first attack came fast. Beams of pure energy struck the outer rings of Earth's defense net. Satellites exploded in bursts of orange light. Small defense drones responded, darting forward, weaving between ships, dropping EMP charges. Council vessels returned fire. Their weapons were stronger, more precise. Earth's outer line began to fall. Merrick stayed calm. Shift to pattern echo, he said. Pull back outer ships. Draw them in. His voice never rose, never rushed. Lyra relayed orders. Earth's fleet obeyed. The Council ships moved forward, thinking Earth was retreating. Then Merrick gave the signal. Release stealth drones. Invisible to most scanners, hundreds of drones activated and surged into the enemy formation. They latched onto ships silently, slicing through hulls with precision lasers. In minutes, Council ships began to fall, one after another. Still, they kept coming. We need backup, Lyra said. We can't hold this line forever. Merrick tapped a comms channel. To Admiral Conless. Your time is now. No reply came. Another blast hit Helion Prime's lower ring. Fires erupted. The station shook. Merrick gripped the railing. Redirect power to the station's shields. Evacuate non-essential decks. We've already lost contact with Section 9. Lyra said, her voice tight. Merrick looked at the main screen. More Council ships were entering range. The flagship, a dark, massive vessel shaped like a blade, began charging its primary weapon. Then, a second signal lit up the sky. New ships dropped out of light speed. Sleek, fast, heavily armed. Admiral Khan Liz had arrived. His fleet opened fire immediately. They targeted the Council's rear line, catching them off guard. Ships exploded in every direction. The battle shifted. On the command screen, Council ships began pulling back. Push forward, Merrick ordered. Full advance. End this. Earth's fleet surged. Drones, bombers, and warships fought as one. Liz's fleet moved with brutal precision. The battle raged for another hour. Then, silence. The Council ships were gone. Retreating. Damage. Beaten. But the cost was clear. Helion Prime was scared. Fires still burned. Over 1,000 lives lost. Ships drifted in pieces, but Earth still stood. Merrick stood at the window again, the stars now quiet. Smoke rose from below. They came to end us, he said softly. They failed. Lyra stepped beside him. They'll be back. I know, he replied. But next time, they'll remember what it cost them. He looked at the stars. 3 days had passed since the battle. The sky above Earth was calmer now. Wreckage still floated in orbit, but repair drones worked around the clock. Fires on Helion Prime were under control. The smell of smoke lingered in the air, mixed with the bitter scent of scorched metal. Commander Merrick Solis stood on the upper deck of the station. His arm was in a sling. A deep cut across his forehead was still healing, but his eyes were steady. Earth had survived. Below him, supply ships carried food, water, and fuel to damaged colonies. Engineers patched broken hulls. Civilians moved carefully through ruined corridors. In the command center, Captain Lyra Nays stood by the main screen. The Council's fleet was gone, retreated beyond Sector IX. No messages, no peace offers, only silence. They've cut us off, she said. Trade routes, communication lines, even long-range relays. We're alone out here. Merrick nodded slowly. But free. Lyra looked at him. What happens now? He didn't answer at first. Instead, he walked to a smaller console. He brought up a map, a new one. It showed unexplored systems, uncharted sectors, the far edges of known space. We chart a new course, Merrick said. Our own. Later, Merrick returned to HFY. The colony was quiet, but change had begun. Teams were clearing rubble, setting up shelters. Small green plants grew in climate pods. Children played in dust-covered streets. He walked to the Seine rise near the old power station. The stone marker was still there. This time, it had new names carved into it, names from the recent battle. He knelt again. We held the line, he whispered. For you. For all of us. Back at Helion Prime, the final message from Earth was sent into the galaxy. No encryption. No politics. Just truth. We are Earth. We have chosen independence. We will not be ruled by fear. We will not be forgotten. We will not stop. Merrick stood before the broadcast camera. His voice was calm, clear. Freedom is cold. Harsh, it comes with loss. But it is ours. And we will build with it. He turned and walked to the observation deck. Stars stretched far into the distance, endless, silent, waiting. He smiled, just a little. Set a course, he said. Uncharted space. Let's see what's out there. The engines of Earth's future began to hum again.